It is 7:08, and I'll call this monthly board meeting of the Regional Village Board to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, certified compliance with the open meeting law. It was posted, sent two papers, and posted out here, posted at the BP, and posted at the post office. Roll call. Don Help.
Here.
Joe Hipsky.
Here.
Ed Strang.
Here.
Matthew Schrader. Here. Steve Wilkinson. Paul Stina. Here. So if you do approve the consent agenda, it would be minus the minutes of the July 1st meeting.
All right, I'll amend my motion. Motion to approve the consent agenda minus the July 1st minutes.
Okay, we have a motion by Ted to approve the consent agenda as presented minus the July 1st minutes. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Joe. Further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And we are at item 8. Acceptance of the resignation of Becca Raven Uminowitz as village trustee. I know it's a formality, but still, there's that outside chance. So do I have a motion?
I'll motion to accept the resignation of Becca Raven Uminowitz as village trustee.
So I have a motion by Don to approve the acceptance of the resignation of Becca Raven Uminowitz as village trustee. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Becca Raven.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Okay, thank you.
Item 9. I thought that was on something else. For item 8.
Oh, yeah, this is not right.
No, this is,
It was just tabbed over.
yeah, this is my, here.
It just got tabbed over. It's numbered fine. It's just that extra tab.
Well, why can't I open it now? Okay. There's 2 board meetings in there. That's why I said this first time using SharePoint. There we go. Okay, number 9. This did not get done. I didn't get the information I needed. So, for the guest study. So, or did I? No, I didn't. So, this will be actually, there's even no action to take on this. So, item 10, item 9. Item 10. A, approval of donation of a flagpole for a Green Community Park by the Mary Jones Memorial Organization. Nick, would you like to go ahead and take this?
So, as you know, I'm involved with the Mary Jones and the Home Talent and coaching Home Talent. And when we stand out for the national anthem, we do national anthem lineups. And you're out there and the other teams go, well, where's the flag? next to the bathroom, and there it is. So I went to our Larry Jones group and probably jumped the gun a little bit, but I went ahead and went to Reedsburg and got a 25-foot flagpole and put it up in left center field. After I find out, I probably should have went to the board and got gone, and I might have jumped the gun, but anyways, it's in left center field, it's lit up, had several comments on it, how nice it looks like it belongs there. So that's what it's at. No cost to the village. We did everything, about $1,500 a week, so that's what it's at. It is removable, it does come out of the sleeve if, for whatever reason, need be.
So I know Rich was helping you put it in.
Yeah, well, so we actually kind of got lucky. It dug a hole on Wednesday night, go to get everything ready in the pole, and we got the wrong pole. So Thursday morning, I called them guys and like, hey, I got the wrong pole. I don't want to run all the way to Reedsburg. Ends up their crew is at a job in Lodi with the pole we needed. We had the pole they needed, so they came. And I'm like, I think you can make it right and stand it up, so they stood it up. So yeah, made it not much in. So yeah, Rich was there, yeah. So that's what that is.
So basically, a formality.
Other than
Do I have a motion to approve the donation of the flagpole for Arena Community Park by the Mary Jones Memorial Organization?
I'll make a motion to approve.
So I have a motion by Ted to approve. Do I have a second?
I second that.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item 10B, approval of the donation of the barbecue shelter. Did I do this one right, Nick? By the
Yeah,
Mary
that's-
Jones Memorial Organization. That's you again, Nick.
So this one's kind of came up on us kind of quick. When we have our chicken barbecue, Dave Forsyth helps us, and he's had his cooker that he uses attached to the sandbar down behind Paul's place there, and he since sold it. So the people that bought it said we could have it if we get it out of there, but we need a place to go with it. And I've been thinking, obviously I have a lot of private park, it's still not 100% set on where I think it would look good down there. I have two pretty good ideas, I think. We would obviously do everything we have to do to pay for it and get it up. This kind of design I think would look good in between the two ball islands on the east side of the ballpark. In between each diamond, I figured if we went, the size is still kind of iffy on it. I think that shown there is 20 by 30, I believe that is. This they could kind of use as a second shelter for to watch both diamonds. We would pour concrete up front. It's still kind of a crapshoot. The cooker's old. It's an old bread cooker out of a bakery in Madison. So there's a chance we go to pick it up and it can go whoosh, and we're out. I mean, it's just, we're gonna try taking a chance if we can have a place to go with it. It's hooked up right now to natural gas, but we would change the orifices to make it LP. Probably would get used for sure once a year. Maybe I would like to see it get used a couple times a year with the fire department, our ATV club, or if the village want to do something. It's really simple. I mean, it's just I would say the trays are 3 foot deep, probably by 6 foot long, and it's just a big wheel. And your chicken sits on there and just keeps. It's just one little motor, electric motor. You reduct it down, and that's just kind of where we're at with it. We don't really have, if we had a different spot to go, we would try to think of something, but it's a good, if it works out, it'd be a great addition for other people to use, but like I said, there's a chance that when we go pick it up, it could fall apart.
Do you want to come point out on the map? I got a map pulled up on my computer. I'm just curious myself. I can show these guys here. What are you thinking?
So I have right here, in here, in here,
Okay.
or my other option would be thoughts.
Oh, down towards the.
Would be out in here on the right side of the big diamond against the complete south side towards Ron, it's kind of back out of the way.
So either
That's where my thought is. I thought,
outside the foul line somewhere.
For the little
on
bit-
either side.
I don't want to cut it down, but for the little that it's going to get used, I didn't think it needed to be close to the other concession stands, just because it would kind of be, this wouldn't look great. I'm open to suggestions if you guys have ideas. Don't really, the thing is if we do it, we're going to have to pour the concrete and then move it and set it on there. You know, we kind of want to do it all in one flow.
Yeah.
So that's what that's all about. When we do it, I'm not sure. You know, like it could be September, October, but sooner than later because I just don't want to go back and crush it. That's what that is.
Questions, comments?
What is the cost of this to the village?
Nothing. Our fireworks crew would do it.
The concrete?
The concrete and everything.
Good.
Well, we got guys that do concrete. I'm pretty sure we're still all over the building, so we have connections. So
Okay, so you got like the equipment right parked in front of their house, right, to do the work, so.
the biggest thing is going to be getting it off, making sure. It's not that heavy. It's just old and awkward.
Any other questions, comments? Don, is that okay?
Is that in the way at all for the, if you did on the, where it's Brian's, for the, what was that, the coach pitch?
Yeah, no, it's a lot. I think I stepped out. It's like 200 and what?
Yeah.
200 feet from home plate there. Not gonna do that far. Alright. Sounds good.
Do you have a preference on one side or the other?
Not really. I really don't. But
Back to
I like
the field or back to?
I like in between the ball diamonds because the multi-use could possibly add another 10 feet onto the front of it, just for a pavilion.
So
For
kind of backed up near that
Yeah.
light pole kind of.
But it might look better over against Ronnie's area where you can't really see it, but I don't know, you know what I mean? It's,
Kind of far in the back then.
I mean, you're not gonna serve out of it anyways, so you just transport it out to the other concession stands, but, no, my first initial thought was back by Ronnie's, and then after I sat there and looked at like, well, if between the ball diamonds, we could maybe multi-use it with another shade spot for the little diamond or the big diamond. Would anybody use it? I'm not sure, but it would be there.
Yeah, because if you're only using it a few times a year, you might as well throw a
Yeah, it's
picnic table under there.
something, yeah, it is.
Well, I can make a motion for the approval of the donation of the barbecue shelter by the Mary Johnson Memorial Organization.
A motion by Joe to approval of the donation of the barbecue shelter by Mary Jones.
Before we second this, we all know that this could go south as soon as we pick it up, right?
Right.
I just want to make sure that you're all sitting there and be like, where's our shelter at, you know? So,
Well, we know who to come to.
Yeah.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Seconded by Don. Further discussion?
One thing, I don't have to track with it, but thank you for a wonderful fireworks.
yeah,
You guys do a great job.
thank
It
you.
was super fantastic. Thank you for
Thank
your
you.
hard work.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item 10C, discussion possible action on pickleball court at Arena Community Park. You want to, I can go in or I can start it?
You can start it.
We can go back. and
Zach,
forth.
now, feet in.
Okay.
Zach?
Okay. This actually got talked about, Nick brought it to the board last year around budget time. And he was working on a grant for there was $20,000, wasn't it? You wrote?
Yeah, that's
From the $20,000, basically what it was, the backing from the village. What it would have entailed is the village would say, okay, we'll back $20,000 for this pickleball court. In the meantime, Nick was working on a grant. I'm not going to keep going until you tell me I'm wrong. Nick was working on a grant, plus he was working on getting donations for the pickleball court to construct it. This was at budget time, I was at the meeting, and it didn't go through because I think there was misunderstanding on that. It really wasn't going to cost the village $20,000. What Nick was looking for was a backing and for the grant, correct?
Yes.
That there was a backing for up to $20,000 from the village. But I remember too, at that time, you said you could get like $5,000 to $6,000 donated by individuals, no problem.
Yeah.
So that's what it came down to. And then plus the grant.
Yeah.
So, and it was, I don't think it was done right. I guess I'm not going to go into it. That's where I'll stop right now.
So kind of got late start on it too. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, the budget time, and
Yeah.
I talked to Matt, but we're gonna try doing half on the basketball court, like
Yeah.
do it ourselves, but the basketball court's in pretty bad shape. And to save money to that, I actually think there's, almost $2,500 this year, or from last year, for this year's budget from the village to put in the basketball court. And I just told Rich, I'm like, let's not do it, let's put it towards something else or save it for next year.
Yeah.
Because the basketball court shot. So yeah, basically, I worked on it. I didn't do very much with the grant because everything I was reading is you kind of needed a baseline to say like, we got $20,000, like Paul was saying. Some are matching grants, some get 5%, some get 10%. But we had zero, knowing what we had going in, you know what I mean? Like, if they're gonna give 10% of zero, it's still zero. Where if we had $20,000, they would give that amount of money. I've been heckling Zach with all the projects he's been working on. I think his numbers are high, but that's just me picking on it. But I looked at a few courts, and the one I really like is the one they just did in West Bear. And it's, by like, I mean, it's simple. It's pretty straightforward. It's simple. I think he's going to work on getting some plans or specs from what goes into it, but I just kind of wanted to get the ball rolling fall and see if we can maybe plan something for a budget or also if we do go into a grant, speaking of the basketball court, I didn't know if we would maybe want to look at like a multi-purpose area to move like a half court of basketball and this together and turn the basketball area into parking because parking's pretty tight over there and I know the village, we had to call the railroad to let them know we were parking there. And Thursday night we got a pretty big playoff game for hometown. We got Ashton coming, and I guarantee they're going to be parked because Ashton travels well, we travel well. I don't think it would take much to turn the basketball court into parking lot if we wanted to. My idea was 70 by 70 for pickleball, but if you went like 70 by 100 or 120, you might look at half of the basketball court. I think it's sufficient for what gets used down there, by half versus full, but I'd be willing to help out ideas and thoughts and fundraising and stuff. It's a huge sport going on right now. I mean, there's a lot of every age from 4 to 60, 70, 80.
I know.
So,
There's a lot of people that play at the old elementary school in Maze on it. Every day there's games going on out there.
And I know, because I contacted my sister-in-law for grants, Amy, and sent you some grant information, and I can contact her again. And then plus, I've been looking shooting for grants and everything that can be applied for it. So I think if we get an early start on it.
You know, I think maybe you could reach out to different grants that you have, like, well, like if you did half a basket, you know, made it more of a,
Yep.
so.
Yeah, 'cause my sister-in-law, I mean, that's what she does, basically, for a living.
So it's-
MATC is grant.
99% of the time, people are just shooting around playing half court.
I mean, Zach was involved in the Barnable one, and he was saying that, you know, Barnable's big basketball, they tried to put it on with the basketball court, and they're already looking at doing additional pickleball courts, because there's too many people playing pickleball and no.
That's the way we do it here.
I just was curious, if we turn the present basketball court into a parking lot, where would the new pickleball/basketball court go?
So my thought, my sit down there looking, is just south of the concession stand in the bathrooms, like where the volleyball, the horseshoe pitch used to be, right in there.
Yeah. Staying in one spot.
How much room is from the volleyball to the concession building?
So I marked it out, if you go down there, there's two old light poles,
Yeah.
not tall light poles.
I just said for the horseshoe.
Yes, so it'd be from that to if you come to the west, it would be about, to the front of the bathroom to that. You know, if you stood at the front of the bathroom, took a line out, so. Yeah, I think 70 by 70 was.
Right here.
Or
Or
would be,
here more.
no, it would be this
Yeah.
to there.
Okay. But if we want to do basketball, they might have to
Yeah, you could shift it,
one or the other.
or go to one match and one north and south.
Would the changing the basketball court into a parking lot, would that be included in any grant for the pickleball basketball, or is that a totally different thing?
You'd have to look into it, but probably totally different, you can look into it.
I'm just curious.
Yeah. Comments, questions, what's anybody, everyone think?
Well, I got another idea to throw out there, I talked to you about this, but I've had a lot of discussion about a splash pad. Has anybody, have you guys looked into anything as for what it costs for a splash pad? I mean, instead of taking out that basketball court, put a parking lot in there, put a splash pad in there.
Yeah, no, I haven't been involved with that.
But we're on pickleball court. Okay.
No,
I just think that's the budget.
I haven't never looked at that.
Okay, anybody want, do we feel like we need a motion or just?
I just want to get this out there so we can,
Yeah. but-
Table it, just keep looking at everything? Okay, motion to table? I'll make a motion to table. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay? Okay, so motion by Paul to table the possible action on the pickleball court at Arena Community Park, and second by Ted, further discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Nick. Can everybody see that okay? Do I need to make it bigger, or is everybody interested? Huh? Okay. Okay, presentations, 11A, back Avenue, project update. Come on, Chair.
Maybe I can see that now.
Alright, so my update that I provided is a little out of order, so I'll skip down to project updates specifically. So for the well house project, so the well house project and the sewer project are pretty much at the same state right now. They're pretty much ready for the administrative closeout. So both those projects, the contract with the contractor has already been closed out, the contractor's been paid out. We've left the loans open to fund equipment purchases. Currently, the one that's being ongoing has been the truck purchase. So realistically, these ones are, like I said, just ready for the admin side to close out. There's just some forms that need to be signed in the villages to have to get these closed out for the DNR. Specific to the interceptor project, we have a 12-month warranty. So that starts on December 5th, 2024 is when you guys have, or the village, we should say, approved the final cap for JI. So then we'll be able to be eligible for warranty items until this December. Such warranty items we've already been going over is turf restoration and stuff like that. So smaller scale things. So I'll just keep coordination with Rich on verifying if there's any warranty items that need to be addressed. And go from there on that. Any questions on these? What I've said so far, otherwise I'll move on to the more specific things for these projects is the update on where the funding's at. So as I said, the last board meeting, I've been trying to get additional funding for the truck beyond what was originally promised. So I was able to kind of max out the funding capabilities in the Clean Water Fund. So you see what I provided here is kind of the breakdown of the truck costs. So as you can see that the truck itself is at $5,500. The optional items, which include the dump bed and utility lights, was an additional $35,000. The truck cost was what the DNR deemed as eligible. So that was that kind of initial 40-20-20 split, 40-40-20 split. And then there was also taxes and fees, which brought truck costs to over $93,000. So what I did here is I kind of showed the allocation of, okay, if we looking at just the truck costs, breaking out what the safe drinking water, so the water project was willing to fund for it, and then the clean water, which was the sewer project. And then basically stating what the village's cost for the truck will be. And as it stands right now, last I talked to Rich is that the truck is expected to be delivered late September, early October. It was purchased through Kaiser up in Sauk. Currently it's down in Monroe where they're putting the dump trailer on. So once the final disbursement forms to close out documents are signed and submitted, the village will get their reimbursed for their fund disbursement from the DNR for these approved costs. So two of the forms, like the final reimbursement forms or final disbursement forms, will show these two numbers on those forms, basically saying these are the costs going back to the village to help pay for this truck. Any questions on this?
Zach,
Yes.
the board approved in April X amount of dollars towards this, but it was specifically for a Ram 4500. I think the last email I saw from you said that what was actually purchased was a Chrysler. Now, I understand that Chrysler used to own whatever, but that's not what was originally agreed upon.
There was an original quote for it was a Ram 5500.
That was the first one, and then when we received quotes in April, it was for a Ram 4500. At least that's how they were labeled,
Yes.
and that's what the committee approved and then the board ultimately approved.
Mm-hmm.
In your most recent email, you said it's a Chrysler 4500.
Oh, and that's a typo.
Okay.
It's a Ram 4500, or at least I can pull up the invoice, but yeah, it's the quote that you guys saw is the same quote that I received from Rich and sent off.
Okay.
Any other questions? And the last two items I wanted to add on here for the project update side of things is just looking into the future. And so I know we've talked about this, I think this was brought up last December with the previous board. We just wanted to bring it to your guys' light as far as future projects. So we had Oak Street from Highway 14 to Brown Street. was in the capital improvement plan. This is the project that Rich is really wanting to get done. He identifies this street as probably his worst section of street in the village. These programs will cover 90% of the eligible project costs, so this can include engineering costs. And then the cycle is every odd year, which is this year, and typically applications are due by November 1st. So MSA is available to assist helping with getting the funding application and obviously designing the project and everything, but just wanted to offer that out there. And then the other one was the PASER rating. So PASER ratings are basically identifying, you assign a rating to a road based on its condition. And basically it's to help municipalities start preparing budgets and costs for maintenance items and roadway projects. So as such, you guys do your seal coating every year. Typically, Rich is on a 6-year schedule where every 6 years your roads will be getting seal coated or some sort of road maintenance, whatever Scott's typically recommends. So this is just the rating they have to do is go through and identify the rating for each street to help be eligible for general transportation aid. This does include LRIP. You have to have a PASER rating for the roads for the LRIP funding as well. So MSA is available to assist in the PASER rating process as well. Yes, I have talked to Rich about these two items here. I know he's not here tonight, so he's aware of these as well. All right, any questions on project updates? Otherwise, I'll dive into feasibility study. All right. So I provided a short little script on here about the feasibility study, just basically letting you know that I'll be kind of going over this. So I do have some exhibits to show. And then I'll pass them out as well. So I'll be providing a little memo kind of going over what's been done and what to look out for the project, as well as an exhibit of the different alternatives that we discussed. So at previous board meetings with the previous board, it got brought up of some issues with groundwater and surface water in the northwest side of the village. So during periods of extreme wet conditions, groundwater is experienced only a couple inches below the surface. This actually did have an impact on restoration for the lift station project, where the contractor could restore, because anytime they drive out on the grass, they would just sink in and carve out and do more damage than they were doing good. That has affected some of the local residents. We have received a letter from a resident complaining about the issue. So one of the previous board members went and got a quote from some contractors on possible fixes that even they said they weren't too sure if it would fix the problem. They couldn't make that promise. So in lieu of that, the village opted to contract with MSA to explore two options to possibly get rid of the water, to see kind of low costs, strictly looking at feasibility and projected costs to further explore down the road. So that is what we looked at, two different options. So you'll see here on the visual, I'm just going to walk over here. The black outline here is what I indicated as the drainage area. So this kind of includes that northwest side of the village where we're trying to kind of get that water away. So this area encompasses 20 acres. So what I did with this area is I started modeling the stormwater effect, so looking at how much water is going down in different rain events. So what I did is I tried to model a 25-year storm. So typically when we design storm sewer, we design to a 10-year storm. I was trying to be conservative and make sure I increased pipe sizes and everything needed to tackle a 25-year storm and get that water away. So some of those numbers you see here, like slopes, soils, time concentration, event intensity, all have to do with that modeling. So to put it in perspective, a 25-year storm is experiencing 5.58 inches of rain in just a 24-hour period. So a decent amount of rain. I think we were close to having one about a couple weeks ago. We had rain all day long. I think Barnwell got 5 inches of rain, so it was pretty comparable to that. So I was able to determine that this area at peak was experiencing 27 cubic feet of rain per second. So definitely a lot of water, all kind of concentrated in this low area. So going to the alternative evaluation, we looked at, the first option was an open ditch. So it was explained to us previously that along Pine Street, there used to be a ditch that ran to the existing Army Corps ditch through Lester Baker's Field. This was probably 20 years ago, and apparently it was filled in. So what we looked at doing was instead, you can see the pink lines here and the green lines indicate ditching water from different areas of this drainage area and running it out to that same ditch. So basically we looked at what we need to get capacity. So we looked at a 6-foot bottom ditch with 3-to-1 slopes. This allows a lawnmower to go down and mow the bottom, as well as be able to mow the slopes of it without tipping over. Originally, I was looking at actually doing a gravity-fed ditch, so trying to grade the ditch from this point to that existing ditch. Unfortunately, I had gravity flow, but it was very, very limited to the point where it would not be maintainable. You couldn't even construct it with maintaining that slope. I think it was 0.1% or even lower than that. So instead of relying on gravity to push the water out, we looked at hydraulics. So basically, I just looked at what I could get my bottom of my ditch to match kind of the existing bottom of the ditch here, and ran it completely flat all throughout. So this ended up being at elevation of 724. You can see here that during our sewer project, we actually did some borings to look at existing conditions of the ground. We actually found that the groundwater was 4 feet below the surface, where at this point down here was at an elevation of 725. So the bottom of this ditch is roughly a foot below groundwater just in this area. So the intent is that with the ditch being lower than groundwater, it'll pull groundwater into it, and as that water level raises up, it'll force its way down the ditch and into the port ditch. So the total project cost for this area, this includes the construction costs and contingencies, engineering, and then some land acquisition, some easements for this, to be $427,370. So this is the preliminary cost at this point. Some pros for this is, like I said, to be lowering that groundwater by a foot. It entails regional discharge where water from this area can make its way into the ditch and out of the area. And then, as you'll see, the cost of this option is less than the cost of this next option. The cons are maintenance. Like I said, I designed it to be a 6-foot bottom, 3-to-1 slopes to make it easier to mow. It just means that you have to mow to maintain it. It's definitely a long stretch of area to mow. I know Rich already struggles mowing the existing ditches he has, especially if you're in wet, sandy soils too. It definitely doesn't help. And then pest control, mosquitoes are an issue for everybody. I have that issue in my house. With this ditch being flat, it's going to be very hard to grade that and maintain it exactly flat. So you're going to have little dips here and there that are probably going to hold water. It'll be perfect breeding ground for mosquitoes. If not, I know Rich also has issue with muskrats at the pond. It's definitely a great spot for muskrats to make a home. So maintenance and pest control are definitely 2 cons of this project. The second option I looked at was a pipe. So basically looking at starting in this same area and basically making my way north to the river, so I can show the extent of it in the next. So you can hear down in this area, the collection area, piping it all the way north to Blue Mountains Creek. Those are the little side creek off of the Wisconsin River. So this was 4,800 feet of pipe. Based on this drainage area, I was also looking at kind of slopes I can get in this pipe and everything. So at the start point over here, I had an invert elevation of 722. So this is lower than that 734 ditch. And this was also to help provide cover over the pipe especially like in freezing conditions, like early winter when the ground's still kind of frozen, we don't want the water to be frozen in the pipe. And then connecting it all the way out to the creek, which I identified at 718. So I had a slope of about 0.08%. With the modeling that I did for this project, I was able to determine that we need 24-inch pipe for this. And due to the limited loading that's going to be over this pipe, so pretty much have it running grass or alongside the road, we identified that we could use high-density polyethylene pipes, HDPE. It's cheaper than other pipe options out there, but it still works for this function. So the total project cost for this area was $1,119,446.
For
$119,446. It's in that handout.
Different page, thanks.
No problem.
Thanks for pointing that out.
So the pros of this, like I said, we were able to get that start invert down to 722, so you're going to be able to pull more groundwater. I did pull back the other sheet. I did indicate that the pipe area within the belt areas of the village, we make it perforated pipe to be able to draw in that groundwater a bit better. So these round structures here are area inlets that allow like, surface water to get to the pipes. But in order to help pull that groundwater in, which is really a bigger issue here, is make that pipe perforated within the village developed areas to pull in that water. So this would be lowering the groundwater further than the ditch option. And then it also allows for storm sewer expansion. So the village currently doesn't have a ton of storm sewer. With these structures in here, they provide connection points that you can tie future storm sewer to and kind of work on expanding that drainage area out. Cons are the costs. So as I said, this cost, as you can see, are almost 3 times more expensive than the previous option. There's environmental impacts such as due to the low slope of pipe. Originally, we were hoping that we could drill the pipe to minimize restoration costs, but because it's so flat, we will have to open trench it, which leads to tearing off people's yards, having to do grubbing and clearing trees to get this pipe in, which obviously helps bring that cost up. There's also additional landowner impact. The ditch was designed to try to stay within as much public right-of-way as we could. The pipe, however, is going to have to cut through, you can see here I have it cutting across some right on the property lines, hopefully. But as we get further north towards the river, we get off road right-of-way and get through properties with the required easement, so it's just affecting more residents.
We looked at it, that's my property. Well, in Bill Walker's.
Yep.
There's a sewer line right through there too, that's a lot deeper, but yeah,
Yep.
there's already stuff right through there, so.
And then road damage is another aspect of this. This is the town road, all the equipment required to trench that pipe all the way throughout to the rivers. We drive down the town road, tearing it up more than we typically would see. And then we definitely have some farming equipment that drive on it, but just another factor to consider. So with this, the scope of the project also had us looking into regulatory agency coordination. So again, the 3 big bodies here are the Natural Resource Conservation Service, NRCS, the Department of National Revenue, Department of Natural Resources, that's the type of line in that, the DNR, and then the Corps of Engineers. So initially I contacted NRCS. They typically do with large-scale projects where you're disturbing a lot of area, kind of help provide me points of contact for this. And I actually reached out to the NRCS about the sewer project in the past. So they actually deferred me to the DNR and Corps. They said that they didn't have much part in this. I reached out to the DNR, specifically their waterway division. I haven't gotten a response back yet. It sounds like they're extremely busy. They won't even provide the phone number out there anymore. So I'm hoping that I can kind of work some contacts internally and try to find someone. But I do know what the permits are for the connection, especially like to the creek or to Blue Mountain Creek. And the Corps of Engineers in other scenarios, I left a voicemail and haven't gotten a response back. But more to come on that. I just did want to touch on some additional alternatives. So I think Matt was the only one present on the board when the previous board member brought this up. But when she was initially talking with contractors, trying to get some quotes, on projects to do with this groundwater. She did get a quote for adding some drain tiles specifically all through the Lester Bakersfield, kind of concentrated on this area here. I believe it was around $60,000, and that kind of prompted this project to kind of see what kind of feasibility. We did not decide to look into drain tile, especially because with all the private properties out here, it'd be a lot more easements, and then drain tile will fill up over time. You can't really see that from the surface. You probably won't know until you start having those groundwater issues again that it's there. So we opted to not look at a large scale drain tile. We can certainly look at adding drain tile to these other options to help mitigate groundwater to the area, but we didn't see a full-scale drain tile project that was feasible. Meeting with someone on our stormwater team to kind of go over what we found, kind of looking at next steps. Due to how flat everything is and the difficulties of construction, the additional costs involved in it, he recommended looking at possibly doing a stormwater basin and pump station as like a separate alternative outside of the scope. He's had a project in the past where basically they found the lowest spot, they dug out a pond that would draw that groundwater to it, and they put a pump station to then pump it away. So like if this was the lowest spot in the county, put a pond here, pump station, pump it to the ditch. Obviously there's a lot of maintenance and stuff involved in that. If the village is interested in looking into that more, we can certainly help and look at another feasibility access or something for that. But for the next steps for this project, our purpose here tonight was just kind of go over what we found so far, and while we're not finalized, we just hope to kind of give a brief update to kind of make reading a report a little bit easier. But we're going to finalize the exhibits and the costs. So I did provide some costs. I'll be providing some itemized costs, actually see what that breakdown is, updating these exhibits to kind of reflect those costs as well. I hope to complete the correspondence with the regulatory agencies, like I discussed, that I'm reaching out, just hoping to hear back to them. And then I'll prepare a actual report. So it's kind of like a preliminary stage to that. So a lot of this content will be on here, but something that you guys can keep in file moving forward as you wish to pursue the project, whether it be now or later on. So I hope to be able to provide a report next month. It just depends on when I hear back from the regulatory agencies.
Andy, that's what we're talking about next month, come in, presenting that.
Yep.
That's part of the initial spend that the village did for the project, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right, great. This is great, thank you. The kind of clear thing, make things a lot clearer for everybody. Help a little bit.
Jack, I was just questioning, do you know of any grants that the village could apply for that would help with this?
So we did ask our storm person about grants for this project. Unfortunately, he did not know of any. The only thing that he recommended was, I know when the village was initially looking at the project, they were looking at doing special assessments, so having the landowners help pay for the project. There is USDA funding that could potentially, if you were to get a group of people to kind of create their own kind of committee organization, so getting the residents, they could actually apply for funding themselves, being backed by the village. So all the costs would go through themselves, and so there is some funding options out there, and I can definitely list some of the report as examples that we look into next steps for that.
Okay, great.
One of the alternatives that may be available is a neighborhood survey for community development block grant public facilities.
Okay.
The village as a whole, your low to moderate income levels are not high enough. You need at least 51% low to moderate income in order to be eligible for that grant.
Something,
Pardon me?
like 2 or 3%.
I don't think you're very
threshold. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you were to do one potential would be to do a house-to-house income survey for the affected area. And if that survey indicated that 51% or more of the residents in that area would meet that 51% threshold, that would give you some eligibility towards pursuing community development block grant.
Okay, I get it. Yeah.
That's up to $1 million, you mentioned?
Yeah, they typically want to award larger projects, but, you certainly have, developability and issues within the village, and negative effects on existing homes with that high groundwater and poor drainage there. So you've got the basis for a good narrative for pursuing the grant, and certainly the costs are within that threshold that they like to find.
Okay.
I know it doesn't really affect my property as much as you guys know. Theirs is quite a bit lower than mine, but I can attest to wherever that crossing is, dug a post hole there for a garden fence and water's like a foot down. Don't even need to add water to the dry concrete back in the quarter in. It just seeps in, water right there. So, but that's the very low spot on my property. The rest of it's just fine.
Yeah, I know Stroy had water underneath his.
I'm the
trailer.
last one, and then it drops down 6 feet, so.
Great. C, GIS upgrade. Bill, Stacy, do you want, you can have, I'll have more copies, if you want more copies, I can give you a copy for this.
Yes, please.
Or anybody else want copies too? Anybody else want copies? Let us know, we'll get you copies.
All right, so I did include this in the update for the GIS upgrade. So this was something that was presented back to the previous board that I just wanted to bring to light to the new board. So starting this year, the current platform for GIS services. So these are maps similar to what you see in the screen, but Rich has maps for his water utilities and his sewer utilities. Will no longer be supported by the software vendor. Basically, they're still usable, but they're no longer receiving updates. And at some point, they're going to phase them out, so you won't have access. We just don't know when it's going to be. Our GS team doesn't think it's going to be right away, so we still have some time. So that's why we opted to, I guess, currently there is a current contract for GIS updates that we're doing right now. This was before we knew about the transition time, so the updates are just covering your traditional yearly updates. So this is basically a proponent to propose what these updates are going to be and the estimated cost for them. So one of the things I provided to the board last year was kind of the scope of what these updates are, so I can definitely send this out to the village again. So it kind of goes over what needs to happen. There are estimates on here. These aren't true costs, so that's what I told the village last time is I'll hope to prepare an actual updated cost for this. So this just goes over the scope of what needs to happen to make this transition to the new platform so that Rich can keep using his maps.
Anybody else too, we're going to have copies of this, so you can just contact the village office and we'll get copies to you if you're interested in anything like this.
So, yeah, so hopefully before the budget season, I'll be able to provide you an updated cost and scope that needs to make this transition happen. Any questions?
All right. That was great, Zach. Thank you. Appreciate it very much. Thanks. I'll see what I keep going on there. We should almost take like 2 or 3 minute air conditioning breaks and turn the air on, everyone can sit here.
I don't think it's too bad.
Okay, item 12, President's Report. I didn't get anything typed up. All I'm going to say is things are going better. We've had 2 months in a row now of getting water and sewer bills out on time. That's huge because it makes residents feel better when they get out on time. So, and yeah, we're just looking at things, if you look at the agenda for finance and everything, changes that we're looking at making to make things easier. And that's it. That's all for the President's Report. Monthly maintenance report. I don't believe there is one. Rich has got a family with health issue, or a family member with health issues. So that's why there isn't anything there, from what I understand. Clerk Treasurer Report. I don't believe Ron was able to get one together. Okay, and now we are item 15, finance. All yours, Matthew.
So the committee approved paying the monthly municipal bills and approved sending the VC3 bills to the League of Wisconsin Municipalities for payment. Agenda item C here is review of the Johnson Block audit. Every board member should review the audit, that way they are prepared when we start budgeting next month. We didn't take any action on the sale of election equipment. We were contacted about sale of some of it, but we also are going to have to budget to purchase new election equipment.
Can I interrupt you for a second, Matthew? I put the audit report up here for everybody, and this, this is what the board members will go through and review, and it's 61 pages long. So, and if anybody would like a copy, there will be copies probably next week available. There'll be a main copy in the office, but that's just something that we go through this audit every year. The village has always done it, so, but it gives you a decent idea what the village is for finances. Sorry, thank you.
That's fine. And then we talked about the fact that we do need to start planning in September for the annual budget, and all committees should do so as well. Moving on to the technology side of things.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah,
What kind of election equipment would you be looking to purchase?
that is a very good question. I forget where I put this.
Yeah, right now we're kind of, it'd be a used or rebuilt, a newer piece of election equipment. What we're kind of, there's 4 communities. Iowa County hasn't come back and said how much it would be, but it's us and 3 other communities that are interested in this. We don't have the specifics on the piece of equipment yet. We just got, we got a letter from, or an email from Iowa County saying, hey, would you be interested in a newer piece of voting equipment? And
Paul, is that possible equipment supported by the clerk?
yes, this would be supported by the clerk. So, but we said, just reply back and said, yeah, we're interested. We want to know about it, but we haven't got specifics back on it.
It's just an add-in, like what we had is just different?
Be replacing. Yeah, be replacing. Yep.
And what, the forensic audit, how's,
Did I skip that? Yeah, sorry, there's the update on the forensic audit. We don't really have an update. So they got the information on, I think it was June 20th, and they said it'll take 60 business days before they get back to us on it.
They're in the process of transferring it to Excel spreadsheets right now.
So we're just estimating it probably won't be even before the September meeting, it'll probably be just after, so we're probably not gonna have
Migration, Joe had said that all of the emails should be migrated from the .net to the .gov, but if any individual board members or employees are having issues, we can work with VC3 on that. The clerk's treasurer was having some problems logging into the .net or having login issues, but I think that was resolved. Should be resolved. The update on donating computer terminals, we received 4 PCs. Ted was kind enough to cannibalize them and then build or restructure them so that we have 2 functioning computer terminals. And with the cloud storage we have now, we won't have to utilize as much of the hard drive space as we did previously. So those did get connected to the server, or to the cloud, whatever we're calling it, and are going through the testing phase before they get rolled out. Discussion on a financial management system, a transition potentially from Civic to Workhorse. There's a recommendation from Robin that the village make a switch from Civic systems to Workhorse because Civic systems is really intended for larger municipalities that have multiple people working within it, and Workhorse is likely more user-friendly to a village this size.
Yeah, the Montfort, the Diane Klossman, the clerk at Montfort, they use Workhorse, and she just loves it. Monticello, I contacted the former village president of Monticello, they use Workhorse, and they just love it. And it doesn't, with Civic, your clerk is going to need a lot more accounting experience than with Workhorse. It's an easier program to use, plus for a village size, it should work just fantastic.
No action is taken because we currently don't have anything budgeted to pay for a transition like that, but it will be something that's considered when we do budgeting. Then we have possible action related to the village clerk attending civic training. The information we got didn't have the costs. We were able to get those, but given that the training falls after the September meeting, we decided to continue it until the September meeting. And then discussion on possible action related to the IT firm. There's some discussions about getting it or trying to contract with a new IT firm, given that the existing firm that we work with is only available on Friday, and they're not always available on Friday. So Paul was able to talk to one person who's going to come in and look at what we have currently and potentially, give us an estimate of what the cost will be to transition, but we're going to continue to try to find additional IT firms that might be able to handle our technology needs.
Odessa's is the name of the one that I talked to. They're out of Verona. They're very good, but they haven't done a municipality before. So if they would, they'll come in and take a look, no problem. So I thought, well, if I asked them, well, if you haven't done one before, maybe give us a better rate if you want to. Anyway, yeah.
No action is taken on that because we don't have enough information, and we don't have a current perspective on how much has already been spent this year versus what we would budget for in the future. There's nothing otherwise.
Yeah, and this is just, it's all stuff we're trying to get ready for budgeting. So we're looking at all of this. Item 18, Personnel Committee. I'm going to hand this over to Matthew, if you don't mind, because it involves me. I put it on here just due to the fact we don't have a Personnel Committee chair right now. If somebody wants to try and take that over, no problem. But I'm an ad hoc or ex officio member of every committee anyway, and Arena has never, the village president has never really used that title on committees. So as far as this is concerned, my opinion is if the board wants to appoint me personnel committee chair for temporarily, that's fine. If not, I'm still going to be talking to people, calling prospective clerk, village clerk, people that are in, but it's just so basically it's a formality. And at this time, I'm just going to leave and let Matthew handle it and be quiet.
That would be great. All right, so I'm guessing that Paul has volunteered himself for appointment as the personnel committee chair. Steve, who is the other member of the personnel committee other than myself, since that resigned, is not here to provide any input. But the 4 board members we have here can make the decision to appoint Paul as personnel committee chair. Or recommend Steve or me. Any discussion?
What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, we haven't been part of that meeting, so.
Yeah.
So, my thoughts on it. Specifically on this, as Paul said, the president, based on our ordinances, the president is an ex officio member of every committee. And to Paul's point that the president hasn't served as a chairperson on any committee, it is probably more reflective of tradition than it is anything else. The president is by definition a trustee. So the president could serve as a chair of any committee if they chose, or if that's how the board decided. As I said, it seems like Paul is volunteering himself to be appointed chair, and I don't think that Steve would speak against that. Given previous conversations, I can't say exactly how he's thinking. I don't think personally that there's an issue with Paul serving as the chair. And given that Steve is already chair of one committee, I'm chair of another committee, I don't think that there would be any objection from Steve or I in appointing Paul. However, if the board decides that they don't want that president to be in those dual positions of power, that's understandable as well.
I've got no problem.
Yeah, I guess I don't see an issue
I
with it.
mean, temporarily until the seats are all filled, rearrange.
Well, it doesn't say temporarily on the agenda. So, well,
But
at any
the
point,
motion could be.
yeah, I mean, at any point, if the vacancy is filled, a person could be appointed. I mean, we would still have to appoint that person to the committee and then as the chair of the committee. As a board.
That'd be fine with it.
I have no problem with it. As long as nobody's got a problem with it, I'll motion to appoint Paul Christina as personnel committee chair.
I'll second.
Okay. So then we have a motion by Pelt, second by Hipsky to appoint Paul Christina as personnel committee chairperson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Paul!
Thanks for falling back into it.
You've been stunned.
Congratulations, Paul.
I have to write down that.
Yeah, motion by Pelt,
Second by Hipsky
second by Hipsky.
to appoint you as personnel committee chair.
Okay.
Motion passed 4-0.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay, 17B, accept resignation of Susie Strang as interim clerk treasurer. Again, for the second time, I'm going to apologize for spelling her last name wrong. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the resignation of Susie Strang as the interim clerk treasurer.
Discussion before the second, should I, abstain?
Okay.
I'll second the motion.
Ted abstains. Second by Don. Motion by Matthew, second by Don to accept the resignation of Susie Strang as interim clerk treasurer. Further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. And this is kind of a formality. She will stay until the 21st, August 21st. So, and then now 18C, update on search for clerk treasurer. We've had one phone inquiry, 2 people have inquired. I've talked to one of them. she's currently town clerk at Town of Clayton, and talked to her and seemed really sharp. And she did talk to Robin about the position, what, it involves, what systems, things like that. And then she actually did research on Arena too. She's actually familiar with Arena, that she said, oh yeah, with my family, we drive through here all the time. So she knows where we are, and I asked her if, it'd be like a location change for her or moving, and she did say. At first, she said no, and so, of course, I bothered her again and told her what we're looking at doing, like switching from civics to workforce, something as simple as a postage meter, instead of going to buy stamps all the time to make the clerk treasurer's job easier. Folding, or what do they call it, folding machine for envelopes or something. Just little things to save time for one person in a clerk's office. And talk to her a little bit more. And the biggest thing is insurance, because she has insurance now, and we don't have that. But that is being worked on. I will include that on this update, the insurance. I did talk to a private provider who can provide, what insurance do we have? I totally forgot.
Well, mine through the state.
Yeah. Courts. We have courts.
Courts, yeah.
Courts and Dean Health, I'm sorry. And it's, at times, it's cheaper through a private provider. So we're going to get together the information she needs, and then she's going to provide a quote. So it still is a possibility for insurance for the employees just through private. It's going to be really expensive to get it through the state.
Paul, just real quick, does it still require at least 2 employees or 3 employees to be a part of it? 2.
Yeah. So, but that's the update on the clerk treasurer, and I have talked to other couple current clerks just to, hey, they know we're looking for a clerk, and just, put the word out there. And 2, if anything, we were to look at a part-time utility billing clerk. We'd be good for that too.
Second question, just insurance as it came up, since it's private, we don't have all the deadlines and forms and like craziness that we had to go through for the state program, so.
Yeah, so we have to make a decision on that in September, the next meeting.
Well, I just wonder if the search should be expanded to maybe not only include clerks, because especially if the idea of getting their civic, if that goes forward, and the workforce is a simpler program, I'm just wondering what we're needing is somebody who's smart, somebody who's organized, and somebody who can learn how to be a clerk. It might broaden how many people might be applying. And the insurance piece is still important, but we might get a bigger pool. I just wonder.
Yep. Yeah, that's why we're working on making things as easy as we can in the office in order to do it that way. So, but thank you.
Paul, I just have a quick question. Since the other part-time person resigned, is the other part-time person going to put on more hours?
She's going to pick another day. She can take another day, yes. Yeah. She'll be here Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday instead of Monday and Thursday. And she was fine with that. So she's okay with that. 19, Public Works Committee did not meet. And number 20, Ted, this is yours, Public Safety Committee report.
28, as many of you might know, I've been working for the last couple of months on the previous EMS and fire agreement between the township and the municipalities, in the village and the township. There is a newest copy in the folder where all the other files are as well. All changes have been, highlighted. Paul, if you're scrolling down the changes, as you can see, anything in blue is going to be additions. If you scroll down some more, you'll see there is some where there's changes, things are crossed out and then immediately rewritten in the text. So all changes,
Can you see that back there? Or do you want
All
to
right.
make it bigger?
and I can get a physical copy if anybody needs one. These are all changes that have been brought up from previous minutes that I got from fire board minutes that were discussed at the fire board meeting. Taken it to public safety committee, and we had one or two small changes as well. Just rewording a few little things. It's not groundbreaking things. It's a lot of, like right there, it said the secretary or their commission, their designee. So like Steve's wife does a lot of the work that in the bylaws and agreement, it says the secretary has to do it, but the secretary hasn't done it for a long time. So it's just cleaning up exactly how everything actually works and how everybody wants to see it be written. So I've taken it upon myself and bounced around from all the committees, the fire board, public safety. I've given a copy to everybody at the township. There's a copy here available for everybody in the village. And see how everybody read it over and see if we can. I'm sure I'll have to go to the attorney to just make sure I use all the right words. He might have to change the word so it's legally correct. I'm not a lawyer, attorney, so.
Well, this goes to the town, correct? So, okay.
I gave it to the township already.
Okay.
Because 2 of the 3 township members are on the fire board, so they got it during the last fire board meeting.
Oh, I went to the town board meeting last night, just but.
It wasn't on their agenda for their meeting.
Wasn't on
last
their agenda,
night.
so
Yeah,
they-
but they all have a copy of it. They all have a
Yeah.
copy of it.
Andrea's looked at it so far.
Yeah, she's got a digital, and then Dave and Bill got, I handed them a physical copy.
Yeah. And she, like earlier, she complimented Ted on it. She liked it. And
Side noted,
yes.
it was the only copy of this whole thing was a PDF. I didn't have any software to like do it correctly, so PDF is an image, so I like copy and paste all of it, no formatting, and reformat all 12 pages.
Yeah.
Rewrite everything.
It was a lot of work. So, but the town has it. I talked to them last night, public comment, and they're really happy. They're eager to go through it and sit down and with the hammer down.
So I hope if nobody's got any changes in the next month that they want to see, they let me know. I can update it. I've got a working document with all the edits I can change. We can discuss whatever. If there's no other changes, we can maybe send that to the attorney and see if it's all good to go. I usually saves a lot of money with me doing the legwork and the attorney going to all our meetings doing the legwork. So
Yeah. And then hopefully we'll have an agreement that town and village are happy with.
yeah, and then it would, really just needs to be done by the end of the year, so it would go into effect by next year.
And then the next thing is
Again, there's for the next item for the
activity report.
the activity report from the county sheriff's office is also in the folder. We did have a few things, comments on, there was maybe no coverage for 2 weeks. That was earlier on, like in May and June, April. And they had all their hours that was contracted, but in the contract it specifically said so many hours per week. And they would do 8 hours 1 week, nothing for 2 weeks, and then 8 hours instead of 4 hours every week. And as you can see here, it's split up a lot better, a couple hours here and there. It's not 4 hours per week, but well, possibly, maybe 3.5 1 week, and then 5 the next week, and 6.5 the following. But it's much better, and there's a little bit more information as far as like speeding or traffic stop or no stop sign, grass ordinance, so a little bit more information. So that's stuff that I met with the sheriff with. Small thing at the larger meeting, I brought that up, and it looks like those changes have taken effect a little bit better on our report.
And we have an assigned deputy, right?
Yeah, his name's right there, yep. He has a pickup truck, you'll see him in town quite a bit. I see him right by my house all the time, but I work from home. here the other day. That's all I got.
Okay, item 21, Dane, Iowa wastewater commission report. Gonna get one typed up, I apologize again, last week was not going to be self-wise for me. There been an item from Town and Country will be here in September to go over the plant upgrade. He's just going to give an update on the Dane, Iowa plant upgrade. So how that's going, give more of a timeline as far as, I think he'll be talking about when the village should look at raising rates or, that's going to be part of this whole plant upgrade. So he'll be here in September to give an update on that. Plan Commission, there's a meeting this Thursday at 6 o'clock for 2 items, Dollar General and then Buckridge's plan for 200 on Sharon Street. And then item 23, discussion possible action on a special meeting for Thursday, August 7th at 7 o'clock. Some of you replied, I didn't get like a quorum to reply, so that's why this is on the agenda. What the purpose of this would be to, if you vote to have it the same night, otherwise I was thinking Monday or Tuesday of next week, to approve what the Plan Commission approves or disapproves at the 6 o'clock meeting. Then whatever action they recommend the board to take, the board takes it up. And the Plan Commission can say yay, the board can say nay, or that's just the way it goes. But that way, this is finally all done. If you want to, if you're able to do it, we can get it all done in one night and move on. So, and I just happen to have, if we have that special meeting, the special meeting has to be called by either myself or 2 trustees. I've called the last 2 special meetings. So, if I can still call this one, or if 2 of you trustees would like to call it, you can call the meeting if everybody's able to make it Thursday night. So basically, we can.
Big ball game in town that night.
I know. I'm tired of Thursday night meetings because I have Dane, Iowa Thursday night, Fireboard's Thursday night, and then. But anyway, so that's why this is on there. So.
Did you know this morning that you didn't come to that meeting? I was waiting on about stuff from Dollar General or something for that special.
The thing I'm waiting for Dollar General, I don't need paperwork for it. I just need I can get by with just a verbal or an email. Yeah, I mean, getting paperwork would be better. I'll get an email for it, but it can be added to the meeting. And actually, this special meeting, we do it. Paperwork's right here. Either I can call it or 2 trustees can call it. All I have to do is sign it. Would you like to take action on it? What does everybody think? Can you make Thursday night at 7?
Yeah, I can make the meeting.
Okay, that's 3.
I already emailed you.
Yeah, 4. We have 4. All right. We'll have a full board except for Steve, and he's on vacation. So, since it's on the agenda, let's just do it. We'll make it formal. And then also, the motion should be whether the village president's going to call the meeting or 2 trustees are going to call it. 2 trustees are going to call it, then speak up and all that is fun. We have a motion.
Where's the connection? I'm confused on what motion they're asking for.
The motion I'm asking for is since it's on the agenda, to approve a special meeting for Thursday night at 7 o'clock, and then, as part of your motion, who is calling the special meeting? The village president or 2 trustees? instead of 2 trustees, they're calling it any 2 trustees too.
All right, then I'll make a motion to schedule a special board meeting for Thursday, August 7th, 2025 at 7 p.m. as called by President Paul.
Okay,
No one's volunteering, so.
Yeah.
no, I know, yep, okay. So I have a motion by Matthew to call for a special board meeting on Thursday, August 7th at 7 p.m. called by the village president, Charles Second.
I'll second, my bad.
Don? Okay. Further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. I didn't hurt your head. Okay. And item 24, date of the next meeting is next Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025. Which brings us to item 25. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I will motion to adjourn this meeting.
I'll second.
Second by Joe to adjourn. Further discussion? All those in favor?